the coronavirus has a happy abode in our lungs, which jeopardize the existence of our own human our own human beings. Every individual in every organism understands that life is an important thing. Life is an important thing. Everyone, the present situation is such a risky one, whereby we understand that our lives are precariously poised, and we have to adapt to a neo-normal lifestyle, whereby we find that we have to adopt a certain adjustments whereby we can sustain our life. And some of those things, as we know, is to keep away from the public places. We call it social distancing, wearing mask, probably some of you wear gloves in order to avoid contact with the objects and other individuals. We also have the habit of using sanitizers quite a bit in order to kill the germs that can come onto our hands and other body parts. So that is the near normalcy that we are living in. And also, we have adapted to strategies like lockdown, whereby we have to keep ourselves indoors in order uh, to cut down the points of contact that we might have otherwise when we go out. So how are we going to adjust? Because man faces several challenges when humans have to, or shut down in indoors, because humans generally have a tendency to go out and contact other individuals, talk to them, interact with them, because humans are social beings as well. So this is a situation whereby we have to find certain way outs in order to overcome the challenges put forward by the situation. There are several strategies that we can involve in. One is sharing. Actually, one is sharing. We have the ability to share things. It's not only that we share knowledge, time, our valuables. I mean, sharing has to be one of the most important aspects of your life if you want to sustain in this time of pandemic. And you should have a mind to accept failures. It's not never think that you are going to be successful all the time. I mean, there are setbacks in your life. You find that you want to contact one of your friends, but you cannot contact. That probably is a temporary setback for you. But if you find that that is a failure, then it is going to be a problem. And you need to have the mind to accept failures gracefully. Actually, one thing that we learn from sports is actually to accept failures gracefully. Sports is not always about winning. You need to understand that sports is also about losing some of the contest. It's not that when you accept losing that you keep losing all the time, but you learn certain aspects from losing, and you implement some strategies whereby you identify yourself as a successful man when it comes to a next contest. So you learn from the failures and try to overcome your shortcomings, and then win in the next situation that you get. So failures is important, and it's more important to accept those failures gracefully in your life. Enjoying doing your enjoying doing your best is another way of coming out of it. You have several situations, where you have to do several things indoors. Probably you have several activities like like learning new life skills. For example, you can learn cooking skills. You can improve upon your culinary cooking skills. Then try to learn to cook a new dish or something of that sort. Try to learn stitching, sewing, knitting, and things like that. Or probably you can take on to learning community singing or something of that sort. These are activities that you can involve in indoors, whereby you can keep your life active. The idea here is to The idea here is to keep your life active all the time when you're into. If you become passive and if you try to glue onto the screen more than the required, it becomes a kind of an obsession, and that can lead to a kind of psychological disorders, including depression. One thing that I have to stress here is that we have a tendency to glue onto screens when we do not have anything else to do. And that can be really problematic because you can get easily addicted to watching, using mobile phones or watching something uh, on the laptop. So you have to be really careful about it. But one thing that I would like to, advise you is spend time with your family, probably watching movies, because that's one of the most important pastime activity that you can have during lockdown, right? Another activity that probably you can involve in is farming and gardening. Farming and gardening I have my wife and kids involving in farming, though I am not really too much into it. But my family members, they are really involved in gardening and farming, and that is pretty good activity to get involved during the time of this pandemic. Then stimulating your creative self is another option. We all are creative in nature. Humans are really creative in nature because we know that over the years, the kind of cognitive developments that we had in our brains, we all have creative abilities. We probably haven't identified it. So probably try to do some singing, try to do some kind of writing, and trying to identify your creative self is one of the things that you can do really when you are confined to indoors, right? Then look back into your life. When you get time, look back into your life, the events that you came through, how you strived, how you overcame, how you strategize yourself to overcome different hurdles in your life and get confidence out of it, and try to also identify the location of your new friends and contact them, share your feelings with them, and do networking. That is pretty important, actually, right? Reading is another important engagement, which I usually involve in quite a bit. And it gives you a lot of knowledge, expand your ideas about different cultures around the world, and try to understand the meaning of the culture. Try to understand the importance to be culturally tolerant, and taking care of your pets. Probably you have pets at home, and taking care of pets is an important thing, actually, which can keep you occupied. Another important thing is probably learning a new language. I have a friend of mine who is picking up skills in French, actually. So learning a new language is an important thing which can help you to go on uh, you know your intellectual skills quite a bit. Then probably charity and kindness. If you can show charity and kindness to others, that's one thing that can actually keep you really active in your life. And there is ample opportunity for charity these days, because we know that there are many humans around you who do not have a proper job or means for finding means for livelihood, and helping them is one way to keep yourself active and keep yourself really you know uh, you know spiritually involved, actually spiritually active and spiritually clean in your life. So that is one thing, and praying is another thing. Probably if you have the habit of praying, I would advise you to involve in praying, because that gives you a spiritual satisfaction when you pray to your God. And then there are other things that you probably can involve. That is probably, of course, you have the habit of, some of you have the habit of watching televisions, but I wouldn't advise you to hear too much of negative news on corona and all that, but you should be aware about the situation. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Then physical exercise is no doubt one way to keep yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually active. You find it difficult to go out your home for a walk or a run or something of that sort. It becomes really difficult for you to involve in a game that you like. But there are ways for you to involve in it. Probably you can get into your room, have a bit of walking inside the room, or if you have an open terrace, make use of the open terrace, walk on the open terrace. Probably you can jog if you have enough space, then go on. If you have a treadmill, that's well and good, but I know that everyone cannot afford to have a treadmill. But then you have some space. At least you can walk around your house to get yourself, physically active and stretch your body, move your body, involve in probably a bit of dancing, have the music, and keep yourself dancing along and physically involved in it. And also make sure that you involve in some kind of playful activities. Play has got a lot of catharsis values. Actually, it can cleanse your mind like anything. So involved in playful activities. And if you have your younger brother or sister, or if you have young kids at home, involve with them, play with them, and use time to be with them. This is one way that you can keep yourself really very active. So one purpose here is to actually involve actively in life, even if you are indoors, because that way you can make yourself mentally really resilient and mentally really fit. And that is probably, pretty important in order to survive this pandemic. Our lives are precariously poised. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But we ourselves will have to find a way out of this. There is absolutely no doubt in this. Don't think that there are things which can save your lives. Probably you are vaccinated, you, you feel really confident and all that. But then we also need to know that there is mutation happening with the virus, and that makes the virus a bit resilient. Actually, it can probably break your defense, and not let the virus break your defense. For that, being physically and mentally fit is pretty important. And to keep yourself active, your social life is pretty important. So these are certain things that you have to keep in mind if you want to survive this pandemic. And I hope that you are having a nice time indoors, engaging yourself in different activities, learning new things, keeping yourself active, over the time, and hope you do not glue a lot onto the screen, which can have its adverse effect, which you might not be aware about right now, but you will naturally be aware about it once the pandemic is over. I hope that there is hope at the bend, and hope is the only hope that can lead us to light. Thanks a lot. Thank you.